Rome calling. Rome calling. This is the Gentleman Ultra. This is the Gentleman Ultra. This is the Gentleman Ultra, and I'm your host, Richard Hall. Today, we are looking at an article called the Serie A Team of the 1980s. See if you agree with the Gentleman Ultra's choices. After suffering the sling and arrows that followed the publication of our Serie A 1990s team, which will soon be announced on this podcast, we thought we'd take on the 1980s team. The 1980s was a defining time for Italian football. The early part of the decade was marked by the national team's unforgettable triumph in the 1982 World Cup, and the latter saw the arrival of Arrigo Sacchi, who transformed the Italian game and ushered in a new era. It was a decade of a defensive masterclass where only the sharpest strikers and the most creative midfielders could flourish. We compiled a short list of players, 4 for each position, and handed it over to our followers on social media via a series of polls. As always, some big names had to be left out. So, thanks to our readers, here is our Serie A team of the 1980s. Goalkeeper, Dino Zoff.
Eder. Ha parato Zoff, il colpo di testa, parato sulla linea, il colpo di testa di Paolo Isidoro.
The image of a 40-year-old Dino Zoff lifting the World Cup in his grey azzurri jersey in 1982 set a new benchmark for goalkeepers. Zoff was a pioneer of his craft. A serial title winner with Juventus, he turned goalkeeping from a trade to an art form. He did so in an era where so many talented strikers were drawn to Serie A. His legacy lives on, and the likes of Gigi Buffon continue to strive for the standards he set so many years ago. Right back, Giuseppe Bergomi.
Significa la soddisfazione più grande del mondo. Rummenigge? Ma Rummenigge forse non era al 100%, comunque non so cosa dire.
Giuseppe Bergomi, even then, was something of a throwback. The man they called Lo Zio, the uncle. He sported a very specific look. Tall and athletic, with a rather old-fashioned bit of facial hair. That moustache. He was tough but fair, pragmatic, disciplined, good in the air and tactically astute. His aim was to be a one-club man, and he achieved that goal by making more than 750 appearances for Inter over 20 seasons. Such is his status at the club. Even Javier Zanetti called him Mr. Inter. Quite simply one of the greatest defenders Italy has ever produced. Centre-back, Franco Baresi.
Mancano 2 minuti al termine e viene chiesta l'uscita dal campo di Franco Baresi. Questo è il momento.
Few players achieved greatness across 2 eras, but Franco Baresi's place in both our 1980s and 1990s dream teams, given something away, is unquestionable. Throughout these decades, he marshalled some of the most formidable backlines in Italian football that, well, basically they've ever witnessed. In our dream team, he lined up alongside some of the greats to create a defence that would possibly be the best in Italian football history. Even the great Maradona and Van Basten would struggle to score goals against this defence. Centre-back, Gaetano Serie.
Semplicemente, Gaetano Scirea è il sinonimo di Juventus. Non si può pensare l'uno senza l'altra.
Classy, intelligent and technically gifted libero, Gaetano is one of the greatest defenders in football history. In addition to being a mainstay of the Juventus backline from 1974 until 1988, Serie was a player for the Italy side that won the 1982 World Cup. He largely kept Franco Baresi out of the Azzurra team until his retirement in 1986, and that speaks volumes of his talent and dependability. Serie is Juve's third highest appearance holder, and he won the lot while playing for a club. 7 Serie A titles, 2 Coppa Italia titles, the European Cup, UEFA Cup, and Cup Winners' Cup. He was never sent off in his career. Left back, Antonio Cabrini.
Antonioni, Cabrini. E segna Cabrini con un tiro angolatissimo.
Antonio Cabrini is the player against whom all Italian fullbacks should be judged. His armoury of power, techniques, intelligence, attacking flair, passing ability and shooting prowess redefined the fullback role and helped him win every UEFA club competition as well as the 1982 World Cup. The man they called Bell'Antonio sure was beautiful to watch. Right midfield, Roberto Donadoni.
Hardy standing there, but it will be Donadoni to the far post. Goal! He couldn't have placed it there any better.
Described by Michel Platini as one of the best Italian footballers of his generation, Roberto Donadoni was the archetypal wide midfielder. Usually deployed on the right, he was fleet of foot, accurate, incisive, creative and tireless. He was perfectly suited to Arrigo Sacchi's high-octane Milan side and was forward's dream. My greatest satisfaction, Donadoni once said, comes from making the pass that leads to the goal. And playing with Marco van Basten, he made plenty. Centre midfield, Michel Platini.
Sulla respinta riprende Boniek che serve Platini, ottimo l'inserimento e tocco di esterno di Michel Platini che raddoppia per la Juventus.
Despite bold attempts to destroy his own legacy, Michel Platini did enough on the pitch to be remembered as a graceful and creative artist. With the ball, he was a master of their midfield craft. Platini was quick, precise, and could read the game on one page ahead of everyone else. He was magnificent. But let's stop talking about him after he left Juventus. Centre midfield, Frank Rijkaard.
Basten, Rijkaard, must be and is. The Dutch have put it together.
When Milan were at their majestic best in the late 80s, Frank Rijkaard was pulling the strings in midfield. Although he only joined Milan in 1988, a year after compatriots Ruud Gullit and Marco van Basten, the powerful midfielder with an eye for an important goal was the popular choice amongst our readers. An extremely versatile player, Rijkaard originally played as a central defender before Sacchi decided his skills were best served as a holding midfielder. During his 5 years with Milan, Rijkaard won 2 European Cups and 2 Serie A titles. Left midfield, Michael Laudrup.
Poi ecco Briante, entra in aria, può avere zona buona per tirare, si porta verso il fondo, cross, Laudrup, tiro, rete di Laudrup, ora storica, 16-54, Laudrup ha segnato per la formazione ventina, quasi un malocchio che viene a cessare.
The Danish winger's time in Italy wasn't all smooth sailing. When he arrived at Juventus, the limit on foreign players meant he was immediately loaned out to Lazio. Even so, he made his mark over 2 years in Rome before returning to Juventus for 4 seasons. He left Italy for Barcelona aged 24 with a Scudetto, an Intercontinental Cup in his trophy cabinet, and a reputation of being one of the best young midfielders on the planet.
Desde Argentina, Armando Lío, ahí va Dieguito.
Forward, Diego Maradona.
Piede sulla palla, Sacchi, parte il tiro, rete, Maradona ha segnato, magnifico calcio di punizione da parte della formazione napoletana. Il Napoli è passato in vantaggio proprio a circa 27-28 minuti dall'inizio del secondo tempo.
Did we really need to vote for this number 10 role? Probably not. How do you put Diego Maradona's spell in Italy into words? Explosive? Captivating? Genius? God? Or devil? As some Italian newspapers preferred to call him. In the summer of 1984, much to the amazement of the football world, Napoli, who'd never won Serie A, signed the greatest player in the world. By the end of that decade, the club had won their first Scudetto and UEFA Cup. At the heart of all of it was the Argentinian forward, who would whip the San Paolo Stadium into a frenzy once a fortnight with his dazzling displays and the lack of deference to Italian football's big names. For most, he's the first time on any all-time team sheet.
Il mio idolo è Marco Van Basten resterà il persone più grande. Marco Van Basten vola in alto, Marco Van Basten l'attaccante più forte di sempre. Il mio idolo è Marco Van Basten.
Forward, Marco Van Basten.
Il traversone, Van Basten stupendo, palla gol, se non lo dà questo e c'è il gol che è stupendo il gol di Van Basten. Van Basten che è andato ad esultare presso la curva dove sono sistemati i giocatori del Milan.
There were no limits to what Marco Van Basten could do with the football. Alongside Dutch compatriots Rijkaard and Gullit, he formed an integral part of Sacchi's revolution at Milan during the late 80s. It was a revolution that transcended the silverware sitting in the club's ostentatious trophy room. Out with Nero Rocco's Catenaccio and in with the new era of total football. One spearheaded by the elegance and grace of Marco Van Basten. Mr. Arrigo Sacchi.
Quel Milan, se fosse stato un'orchestra, avrebbe saputo interpretare dal rock al jazz, a tutte le musiche.
The former shoe salesman, who started his coaching his local team because he wasn't good enough to play for them, remains one of the great managers thanks to his spell in charge of the mythical Milan side of the late 1980s. He laid the tactical blueprint for a golden era of Italian football. After bagging 8 trophies with Milan, he went on to guide the Italian national team to the 1994 World Cup final, where a penalty shoot defeat to Brazil sparked downfall in his fortunes. But we all remember him for that Milan side. This article first appeared on the Gentleman Ultra. Words, thanks to Luca Hodges Ramon, Neil Morris, Richard Hall, and Martin Dunlop. That was Gentleman Ultra, Serie A, team of the 1980s. Thank you for listening. Ciao for now. This is a Federico Farcomeni production.